So let's have a look at some of these misconceptions from Friday's EEDI tasks. So the first one we're going to look at is from the probability tasks. I'm going to look at two misconceptions from this. The probability task was actually done very well. So this first misconception, this is the one that was done the worst, and this is question 8, for those of you that wanted to know. Okay, if you haven't done already, then please do pause the video now, have a go at this question yourself, and then come back to have a look at whether you got it right or not. Okay, so the most common wrong answer here is A. Okay, so that's our most common wrong answer. And I can see where that's come from, because I think what people have done here is said these two together is 0.7. All the probabilities together add up to 1. And so 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. And I don't think this is actually very helpful. I think they put this in to sort of try and help people with the method. But actually, I think a lot of people just did this and got 0.3, which is not right. So 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3, but that's shared between both of these values. So actually what we have is that 2x is equal to 0.3. So x is going to be half of 0.3, which is 0.15. So the correct answer should be D. Okay, let's look at the next one. So the next question on the probability that most people, or sorry, not most people, but some people made a misconception on, is this is question 4. Okay, and the most common wrong answer here was D. So here, the most common wrong answer is D. Okay, and I think probably people have chosen that maybe because they thought this was maybe the most realistic, that out of 150 people asked, 130 would say that they watched the Great British Bake Off. But from a probability point of view, it doesn't matter what you think the answer should be, you've got to look at what the data is telling you. And if you are doing a survey, then it's always the one with the highest frequency. You want to ask the most people, get the most people's opinion, or test the most people's opinion in this. So here, the fact that this is what the highest frequency means that JACs are going to be the most reliable data. So the more people you ask, the more reliable your data is. So your answer there should have been B. Okay, so that's it for the probability questions. Let's move on to the volume questions. Now this is the second time we've done a volume quiz. And if those of you had your books with you, you should have been looking back at this, but I appreciate some of you might not have had them in front of you. So let's have a look at these common misconceptions together. Okay, so this first one is question 6. Okay, and question 6, the most common wrong answers are kind of split here. The most common two wrong answers, the most common misconceptions then were A and D. So do make sure, please, that you are trying these questions first before you just watch the correct answers. So if you got A or D, they're not correct. Okay, the correct answer actually is B, and let's have a look at where that's come from. So they want, first of all, the total surface area. Okay, we need to use this formula. So the curved surface area is this. So this is for the curved surface area of a sphere. So let's just write that down. So the curved surface area, and this is for a full sphere, so this is really important. That's for a full sphere, is 4 pi r squared. Okay. What this question wants is the surface area of a hemisphere. Okay, surface area of a hemisphere. So let's just have a think about that. Well, a hemisphere, as we know, is half a sphere. And it tells us our radius here is 6 centimetres. So let's do it for the full sphere. So the curved surface area, if this was a full sphere, would be 4 pi r squared. So 4 times pi times 6 squared, 4 times pi times 36. We use our calculators. And I'm going to keep that, I think, in terms of pi. If you've done it as a decimal, that's fine. But make sure you keep a load of decimal places if you do that. So that's for our full sphere, let's not forget. So then our curved surface area for our hemisphere. So I'm just going to put curved surface area there. So this curved surface area of our hemisphere is going to be half of that, so 72 pi. So I'm just going to, that's what I've done there, divided that by 2. But now this is only for the curved surface area of the hemisphere, the curved part. So I need to add on that circular base. So the area of my circular base, area of a circle, pi r squared. So that's going to be pi times 6 squared, 36 pi. So then if I add these two together for my total surface area, it's going to be my 72 plus my 36 pi, 108 pi. These aren't in terms of pi, so let's just see what that is on our calculator. Or you might have been working in decimals throughout, and so that's 339.29, etc. So looking up here, that's that answer. Now the most common wrong answers then, where did they come from? So the most common wrong answers here were A, and in here, what's happened here? I think this is 72 pi. Let me just check that. Yep, so that is just the curved surface area of the hemisphere. So this answer here, this is the 72 pi, that's just this bit. So people there have forgotten to add the circular base onto this. And for this one, 452.4 centimetres squared, I'm pretty sure this one is this formula. So that would just be the full curved surface area if we had a whole sphere. So let's just check that. So that would be in fact it's this 144 pi, isn't it? Yeah, so 452.38, etc. So this is this 72 pi, sorry, is this 144 pi, is using just the full curved surface area of this whole thing. So you must make sure when you're doing these questions that you read them carefully and don't just use the formula given. Make sure this is a multi-step question you've gone through to the final answer. Okay, the last one that we're going to look at then is this question. And here, for those people that want to know, this is question 10 from the volume quiz. And question 10 here, let's have a look. It wants the volume of this sphere. It doesn't tell us the formula, so you're going to have gone back and looked up your formula if you didn't know it. And the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. And it is a full sphere here, so it's going to be this full formula. Okay, now the wrong answers here, there's a bit of a range of wrong answers, but the correct answer is B here, and the wrong answers in order, C was the worst, followed by D, followed by A. And I'll go through where they've come from in a second. Let's just check that B is the right answer. So 4/3 pi r cubed here, 4/3 times pi times 8 cubed. So let's just check that. 4/3 times pi times 8 cubed, or you can just times in 8 times 8 times 8. And that's going to give us 2144.66, etc. So that's that correct answer. Okay, let's have a little look at the wrong answers then. So the wrong answers here, if we just go through them, the one that was done the most, the one that was said the most of the wrong answers was C. And here for C, I think basically what's happened here is people have just missed off this 4/3 part. So this answer is just pi times 8 cubed. Okay, so that answer there is pi times 8 cubed, so this part's been missed off. Okay, the second one, which is a bit of a strange one really, was this wrong answer. And actually this is pi r squared, so I don't know if people have just jumped to conclusions and saw a circle here or something, not read this, not seen that it was a sphere, a 3D shape, and just done the area of a circle. So that's actually just pi r squared. I'll just convince you of that. So pi times 8 squared, 201.06. Okay, and this other one, part A here, this is just doing the formula wrong, and this is 4/3 pi r squared. So again, if I just type that in to show you, so that's 4/3 times pi times the radius 8 squared, and that's our 268.08, etc. Okay, so just be careful with these formulas. It's volume, so it's definitely got a cubed in there. So there are misconceptions for today. Make sure, please, that you've gone through them, you've made any notes that you need to, and if you need to correct them, then please do.